Welcome back to Worldview. Now, a few weeks ago, Andy Chyba joined us to discuss hydraulic fracturing or fracking here in the UK. Andy is an activist and member of the Green Party who's leading the fight in this country against fracking to release shale gas from deep beneath the surface of the earth. He's co-founder of the Anti-Fracking Network, launched in March of 2012, and he's led many protests around the country after earthquakes near the first fracking site occurred in Blackpool. That created a temporary ban in this country, which has since been lifted. And Quadrilla, controlled by a very powerful and outspoken Tory member of the House of Lords, and locally in Wales, Coastal Oil and Gas, are on what seemed to be a full assault in villages across South Wales to begin using this controversial practice. Indeed, our student partners at UWC Atlantic College filmed a debate I took part in with Friends of the Earth's Gareth Clubb and two oil industry executives. Andy joins us now to talk further about what needs to be done and a seemingly new ally in this fight, Bonnie Prince Charles of Wales. Andy Chyba, welcome back to Worldview.
Nice to see you, Dennis. Good evening.
Good evening. Now, the Tory government is under renewed fire for seeming to give a blanket assent to this practice of fracking. The Queen, in her annual speech to Parliament last week, didn't mention climate change or fracking at all, but a day later, Prince Charles came out with the strongest condemnation to date of climate deniers. Before an audience of government ministers, business people, and scientists, he said, and I quote, "Climate change should be dealt with like a doctor would deal with the problem. A scientific hypothesis is tested to absolute destruction, but medicine can't wait. If a doctor sees a child with a fever, he can't wait for endless tests. He has to act on what is there. And the risk of climate delay is so enormous that we can't wait until we're absolutely sure the patient is dying, in this case, planet Earth." Now, how serious is the Prince and the Crown, and where do you think we stand on this issue?
Well, I mean, the problem with climate change as an issue is it's a non-human timescale. So it's all very well comparing it to the sort of medical scenario, but the sort of timescales that we're dealing with mean that the evidence has taken some time to put together, but it's pretty incontrovertible now. But because of the time delays in also being able to sort of do anything about it, it's almost an excuse for not doing anything about it. Right? So that's the Tory short-term mentality. Right? We're probably going to get away with it in most of our lifetimes, but when you think about the future for my children and our grandchildren ahead and the legacy we're going to leave behind them, that's where the Tories are sort of morally corrupt at the moment. They talk about not leaving debt for future generations. We could write most of that debt off tomorrow if we wanted, but we can't write off climate change tomorrow if we wanted.
No, and if you look at some of the things we've seen just within the last week, I mean, that we went through, I forget what the number was, but it was a huge percentage of carbon particles in the atmosphere that was considered to be the beginning of a tipping point. We've seen the hockey stick graph showing how the Earth is warming, and yet there's this enormous emphasis because of perceived success in the United States of this shale gas and fracking activity. Talk a little bit about why some of this is attractive to governments and what's the Trojan horse here?
Well, I mean, they present it as an opportunity, they use the term sort of bridging sort of fuel and stuff like that, because it's perceived as not being as filthy as burning coal and stuff like that. And, the research from the Tyndall Centre is pretty categorical on that. I mean, to an extent, that argument holds water if it's you're burning gas instead of coal, right? But when you look at what's going on in India and China and so on, that's simply not going to be the case. We're going to be burning these additional extreme fossil fuels on top of the coal that's being burnt in other parts of the world, and that's the kind of the Trojan horse. That's what gives life to the fact that it's in no sense of a word a bridging fuel, because we're not burning it instead of coal, we're burning it alongside coal. So it's just another fossil fuel that's contributing to the global warming problem.
Indeed, we're talking with Andy Chyba here on Worldview with Denis Campbell. We're talking about fracking and its impact on the environment. Andy, last summer I happened to tour a part of Western China where quite a bit of hydraulic fracturing is done, and I was shocked to see that here we were in the Turpan Valley of the Xinjiang province, which is the the wine growing and grape growing region, and yet side by side with this water supply that runs through the valley and provides, in what is essentially the heart of the Gobi Desert, the only water that they can then use to grow about a mile or so on either side of it. You had fracturing wells right there also, digging deep and releasing into the water supply that was basically, going after the actual part that fed the region. I mean, it was called the Great Valley and the Fire Valley, for a reason. What is it with this particular practice that people cannot seem to understand what is actually happening with the chemicals and all of the ways it is impacting the environment?
Well, I mean, in this country, the government keeps peddling the myth that the problems that are going on in China or America or whatever, simply can't happen here because we're so much more careful with our regulatory regime and so on. It's a complete spin. It's a complete myth. Right? There's no fracking-specific regulatory regime in this country, and they're peddling this myth because they're beholden to the oil and gas industry. They're paymasters to some extent, and therefore they'll bend over backwards for the short-term buck. And despite the fact that politicians in this country got a pretty bad name, when you've got the old big lie syndrome, if they keep saying the same thing loud enough and consistently enough, the public tend to accept it, even though they know that they can't trust these people, but they still tend to accept it. And when you come back, that's the other big issue with fracking is the impact on the water supply. It's not just an issue of the global warming issue that's contributing to. I mean, when you look at coal mining and so on, the auxiliary environmental impacts are not as potentially destructive or harmful as the impacts of this extreme technology that we're now talking to. And that's where we're getting to now. All the readily accessible coal and gas has been taken. Right? So in order to keep these industries going, we have to go for more and more extreme methodologies with a greater and wider range of toxic legacies.
Yeah, and then one of the things we always hear about is the tremendous number of jobs that are going to be created as a result of this, and the independence that will be gained here in the UK, without any mention of the fact that we're talking about a commodity that is still traded on global markets. Talk a little bit about the red herring in the lie of all of the new jobs that are going to be created in the fracking industry, for example, here in the United Kingdom.
Well, I mean, obviously there's a certain number of jobs involved in actually doing the drilling, but it's a highly specialist job. And the reality is that the actual drilling and the fracking is done by relatively small teams that travel around. So you've got no long-term local jobs involved at all. And we've had very small-scale coal bed methane operations just up the road from here. There was a team of 6 people involved in the whole operation. 5 of those were contractors brought down from Liverpool. The only local person who got any employment out of that operation at all was one security guard, right? Probably on minimum wages. So once these operations are undertaken, most of these operations you see from Gaslands and other parts of the world where these operations are in full flow, they're largely unmanned. You literally don't really need much more than a security person on the site. Because once you've done the frack job and got the flow going, it basically runs itself. Right? Now, there might be some industries that are drawn to having a supply of gas on tap, right? But then you've got to start thinking in terms of what those industries are producing and what the sort of environmental impacts of those industries will be on top of that as well.
Yeah. I remember watching the BBC documentary in Northern Ireland where the discussion was happening, and they interviewed some poor bloke in Pennsylvania who was talking about the massive growth of hotels. And the reason that we're having growth for hotels was that all these people were coming in from out of town to run these fracking rigs, and there were no jobs being created except in the hospitality industry. So fascinating.
And they'll be there for a few months, and then they'll be gone again, moving on to the next site.
Yeah, and nobody seems to be buying it, and we have 97% 90% of climate scientists saying that there's indeed something going on, but for some reason the 3% of the fringe deniers also get the same amount of press time as the 97%. So it's a problem that's going to be with us. Andy, I want to thank you for taking some time to be with us tonight. I'm sure we're going to have more conversations on this topic again in the future.
No, it's my pleasure. Anytime then.
Well, we really enjoyed having you. Andy Chyba is co-founder of the Anti-Fracking Network here in the United Kingdom, and he's joined us here on Worldview with Denis Campbell, and I really thank you for being with us. We'll be right back after this.